Today, we talk about...
Doctor,
Read all about it.
give me your number.
Let's do this. Steven, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This is episode, I don't know what, I keep saying this because I'm so behind in the edit. But
You got a theme song?
no theme song yet. This is a work in progress, so it's still very raw, still very, the audio is not going to be perfect, but this is the best we got for now. And we're more relying on the pornographic view here.
It is a very, very nice view.
Yeah.
I think the water towers are really, really spectacular. The Empire State Building, Times Square. You know, I've always wanted. I don't think I've been in a penthouse maybe like just a couple of times in my life. You know,
More than me before I moved here. But yeah, this was always the goal, to like have this as a place to live. You know?
PH was always that mystery button.
Yeah, I was like, I'd love to hit that someday. But before we get too deep into that, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Oh, I'm Stephen Wolf at Stephen Wolf on Instagram and Stephen Wolf NYC on Twitter. I didn't say that before, but I don't really go on Twitter too much.
Yeah, fuck Twitter. I don't really do Twitter.
Exactly, you know what I mean. You can only do so many. I hear that you need a primary social media and a secondary social media. And I do comedy, I do characters, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, and, you know, I'm just one of the many, 600,000 people trying to make it in showbiz in New York. In New York
Right.
alone.
Not LA. Right.
Exactly. In America, I'm sure there's something more of like 100 million people trying to make
Everybody.
it in showbiz.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you tell us, when did you start? When did you start comedy?
I started comedy. First time I did stand-up was my senior year of college.
Okay.
And it was my friend was putting on this comedy festival at Vassar. So there were all these improv groups and all these just comedy, like college comedy groups. Mm-hmm. And so to break it up, he didn't really have too many people at the time. Like I remember like stand-up wasn't as much of a hugely booming thing
right.
at that time.
Right.
You know, again, like just in the sense, you know, it is a common knowledge that like comedy clubs are doing better now than they were like 6 years ago.
Yep.
And so it was my senior year of college. He needed just an act to like break something up. And so I was like, let me do 10 minutes. I'll do something. I'll like put something together. And so I basically just kind of acted out the entire plot and story of D2, Mighty Ducks 2. On stage. And
My favorite of the Mighty Ducks.
Oh yeah, so good. And because it was all just improv groups and sketch comedy groups, they were so on board with it. You know what I mean? It was still just mostly comedy kids and you know, whatever college, you know how putting on your own show can be sometimes. Like it was still mostly just comedians at a certain point there, but it just hit so big, and it was just like I killed.
And this was on a whim, or you prepared this?
This was I did practice. I
okay.
did definitely spend like a significant amount of time like in my room being nervous and being like, how am I actually going to go through this, and like kind of like portion it out and remember all the details. But then I went up, and it certainly was. You kind of don't really have control once you get up on stage. And I just probably went for like 12 minutes, and I just did the movie, and I even got into D3.
Oh my God.
And then then that was really where it got a big laugh. I was like, we're doing D3, and then I got the light, and I was like...
That's insane. How long, or where was this?
This was at Vassar College.
At Vassar, okay.
This is my senior year of college. I'm like 4 years out of college now, maybe approaching 5 years. I think that is possible, 5 years. I don't think I'm going to reunion. But...
And you've never looked back.
Yeah, and then I took that same thing, maybe a few months out of college, I took that same act to Stand Up New York, to the mic at Stand Up New York, and it just did just terribly. And I just remember this girl looking at me like I was a crazy psycho on the train, and she just they hated it. And I was appalled. And I thank God I heard this on Conan's podcast recently that Ray Romano did that same thing where he went up, he bombed, and then he couldn't go up again for like 6 months.
Wow.
And
dude,
so that's what happened.
I've noticed that with it's so crazy how like some jokes you just fucking nail it, and then other jokes go nowhere. It's like depending on where you are, right?
Yeah.
And we were at that comedy show last night, Lost Dog Comedy. I had Matt on here. last week.
You had Matt before you had me.
I did.
No,
I did. But yeah, we were sitting at that show, and I remember like Billy's act, part of Matt's act, which got maybe a chuckle or two, and then at the show, just people dying laughing. I'm just like, wow, this is like the commitment you have to have. For
Matt's
both Matt's, really Billy's, other people's. Yeah, it's just like it's so crazy how like you'll hear these people doing these same fucking jokes, and they're going nowhere, but they're just powering through. And then next thing you know, at a show, they're just killing it.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem actually, is that like I kind of can't get up the nerve to sort of repeat myself all the time, because I just know, because I get nervous that people see me repeating myself when it's really all about the people who haven't seen you repeat yourself. But still, I get so annoyed, and I repeat myself all the time too.
I've heard you do the same jokes
in real life, but also just in real life too,
Right.
like in conversation. Yeah, it's really terrible.
I would say it's terrible. It's just it's necessary, because how else are you gonna perfect something that you have to vocalize
Like,
if
I
it's
hate
just
it.
in your head? You know.
I'm not going to talk about also all these people, but like I do hate sometimes having to hear those like Billy jokes over, you know.
But you could tell that he's mechanical about it. Like, and other people are the same way. I'll see them do a joke at 4, 5, 6, 7 different open mics, same fucking joke. And
That's true.
At some point in my own head, I'm just like, dude, fucking write new shit. But then you see them at a show and you're like, okay,
I sort of
get
do
it
it
now.
until it like does well, and then I stop doing
They
it,
stop
and then
doing
it
it.
doesn't do well anymore because I need to like actually hone in on what did well. Sometimes what did well was just a fluke, but it's also sometimes not. It's like sometimes not necessarily like a super funny. It takes you almost out of the funny mindset to be
Yeah.
like, oh, we have to think about it so much.
Right,
Where
right.
it's like, really, no, you kind of have to like. I really am. I'm such a diva about everything that I need to like be in the correct mindset, and I need to almost like meditate before it, and I need everything to be my way, and then I can like start the fire. You know, I can bring it.
How does that work with improv, though? Do you do improv?
Not really.
No, okay.
And it's because I'm too much of a diva,
Got it.
ultimately. And that is because I haven't really met the group of jaded people. Like, I want people who are like stand-ups, like jaded assholes like stand-ups, who are willing to put themselves out there enough to do improv.
Got it.
Whereas, again, like, just because I'm, in New York, like, confrontational, speak my mind, like jerk. I don't like dance around things, or like layer things nicely. Like I'll just be like, hey, you're being an asshole, like that wasn't funny, or something like that, But you can't really do that in an improv setting. And like to take that as a funny thing too, like to find that group of people where you can just say like, that's not funny, like let's move on, like what's actually good, I've had that in one time in my life, and it was in college one time. Me and this close friend of mine, we started a publication, an experimental publication that we would post in the bathroom stalls every single Sunday. We just like committed to it. We took drugs one time. We came up with the idea, and then we just committed to it. And for like pretty much like 18 Sundays in a row, we posted this ridiculous, like almost irritating newsletter in every single bathroom stall in the dorms. And it was like almost like this forced like view. And this was a time before everybody brought their phones into the bathroom with them.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that could have gone viral. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you still have like a copy of them?
I do. We have 14 of them. We've got 4 missing.
You should post them on Instagram.
I definitely should. But some of them also, they don't necessarily like hold up in the same way. Because
Yeah,
it was like really, it was before meme was a word.
Oh, okay.
You know? Or when meme was still something else.
Right.
Like those little like rage faces.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I miss fucking Rage Comics. That was the shit. What was it, F7U12?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
dude, that shit was. That was like such a different time in the world. Because what I liked about those Rage Comics was like, you use the same fucking faces over and over and over, but like in different contexts, they just remain funny. That's like such an incredible thing. I'm surprised they haven't
And they still
lasted
have,
the test of
they
time.
still like
but-
have that, but with like photos and like, I remember I loved, my favorite memes in the start of memes were Good Guy Greg.
Oh yeah.
Or that really stoned guy who was just like in the middle of a
I'm
party.
trying to remember.
I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah, there's Scumbag Steve.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the high one.
You don't remember him? He's just like a major, like it's like Realization Ralph or something like that. Or it's just like,
Oh yeah. Wait, is that the Keanu Reeves one? Where it's
no, it's not Keanu. It's like just like a guy, like a white guy at like a concert or something like that. And he's just like really high, and he's just like, and he's taller than everyone else. His face is
I
lit
don't
so
remember
well, and
this
he's
one.
just like,
I'm gonna have to look this up later. I'm trying
I
to think
can't
of
remember it.
my other favorite memes. This is a good topic. There's so many classic ones, but they've like gone by the wayside. Like I'm trying to think of retired ones. There was a Good Guy Greg, and then there was, what was the one with the Unlucky Brian or some shit, where he had the braces on and like a sweater vest, and like anything bad that happens is just like split into two parts. I can't fucking remember.
I can't remember it either, but it was amazing. It was great. And now, I don't know. It's so hard to find the content that you want on the internet. Don't you feel when the internet was new, there was still only so much stuff on it, but now it's just so full of all this outdated stuff where it's like
you should go to E-Bombs World and find everything.
Take it off. Take all that shit that you've seen off. It's like reruns. You know, there's so much reruns on the internet. You're like, I've seen this video.
I don't mind it though
times.
sometimes because like it'll remind you because you forget, right? Because there's so many. I guess it is a vicious cycle, but it's like you forget and then it comes back like, oh, I remember this. The worst is when you're looking for one and you can't fucking find it.
What
right?
is that? And you're like, what do I even search? How would I even search that?
Dude.
It's like ungoogleable.
This reminds me of a friend of mine in our group chat was like, oh, guys, don't you just hate it? I was trying to turn this into a stand-up joke, but it's like that porno that you found once and you can't find again, and it's like one of those offbeat porn girls that you can't even search
All the
for
time.
it.
Yeah. No,
like the one that got away.
There's
It's
a porno that I've been searching for basically since I was in honestly 8th grade. There's like this one. This is before like any of the porn tubes too. So it was just like this clip that was on a site that you obviously would have to pay for, but they give you clip. Remember it was before there were the tubes where it was you kind of just to watch clips on various sites.
Before the tubes, the only thing I remember is kids downloading it off Kazaa or LimeWire, and it's something you think it is. It's like a song or like a movie or an MTV Cribs clip, but then it's like porn. It's like, wait, why is this downloading
That's
so quick?
so funny. That's a really good transition to acquisition. And LimeWire and Kazaa. I use those to download Saturday Night Live sketches. And
sure.
that's where you got your that was
YouTube
videos.
That was YouTube,
and that's where you got your shit. You would search Adam Sandler SNL, and you'd find all the shit and this hidden shit. And Jimmy Fallon was really big on that with that stuff then too.
Any TV show, any movies were big there. And again, it was the same thing. It was like I want to watch this movie.
I could never find really episodes of TV. I could never find a season of TV.
Oh,
I could only find single little episodes.
Yeah, it was more consistent for music for sure. Every John Mayer song ever got off of that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think the classic stuff I would find on there. MTV Cribs, every episode I could find.
MTV Cribs. And then also Beavis and Buttheads. I remember I used to watch on there too. Because you couldn't necessarily find those, you know? Yeah.
The first viral quote internet thing I remember, hey, share this URL was the End of the World cartoon. Yeah, that's I think my first memory.
That was big.
That.
I learned that the first viral video before it was a video, when it was just basically kind of a GIF with sound, was the banana that was it's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time.
I remember that. I remember Schwibity 5.
Oh yeah, that was all Group X.
Group X?
It was all Group X. I think that's what that comedy group was
I didn't
called.
know that. But good on them.
I can count all the way to 55.
I only watched it once because I didn't like it as much as the other stuff. But yeah, that was another one.
That's funny if you go back to that, actually.
Yeah. Newgrounds. You remember that website?
Oh yeah, Newgrounds. And then there was also funnyjunk.com.
Don't remember that one.
Do you remember Andy Milonakis?
Yeah.
Because Andy Milonakis was big in that world as well. Yeah, because remember he made that.
I only remember him from Waiting.
Oh, that's funny because he had that song. It was big. I remember it was at the top of E-Bombs World and Funny Junk and one more that I can't remember. Newgrounds. It was at the top of it for a very long time. Was his song "The Super Bowl Is Gay"?
I don't remember that at all.
And it's just him singing the ukulele, and he's "The Super Bowl is gay," and then he just says everything is gay, and that was quintessential internet stuff.
Perfect gay humor back when gay was still acceptable. Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember that clip, but yeah. I'm trying to remember the transition because I didn't really even start using Reddit until.
I remember the first time I saw YouTube, someone showed me a video on YouTube. I remember Google Videos was a thing too. It was competing with YouTube.
It?
Yeah.
Before they bought them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember I was in I must have been in 8th or 9th grade when someone showed me a video on YouTube, and it was one of those it was the "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
Fuck, what was that?
That was just like where, do you remember they used to have like cartoons or like old, like sometimes they did it with The Matrix or they did it with cartoons where it was just like kind of
Like a voiceover?
Yeah, voiceover, like some guy being like, oh, what are you talking about, bitch?
I don't remember that. Actually, this is a great segue too for YouTube because, dude, I remember the Wild West of YouTube where like, it's so crazy. Obviously, everything's perfect in retrospect, but like, because I'm a big YouTuber
Everything's
now.
not perfect
Obviously,
in
right?
retrospect.
Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm a big YouTuber now, but
you are a big YouTuber. Like,
well,
I mean,
relative to the comedy scene, I would say that. Yeah.
But also, like, you're not. That's also just like, you're not like a celebrity, but you're a big YouTube guy. Like in your personality.
Yeah, right. And what I meant to say was I'm a big YouTube.
Like I'm a
fan.
big TV guy, but I'm not on TV.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm a big YouTube fan. That's if I'm not pissing, shitting, or eating, or sleeping, or working, I'm
That's
on
so
YouTube.
funny.
So I remember the Wild West days of YouTube where I would literally. They used to put up full Disney movies like Beauty and the Beast, Dumbo, whatever, and I would literally watch part 1, part 2, part 3. It would always be a 10-part.
I loved it when you could just find anything you wanted in part 2.
Yes.
Even really obscure shit though, too,
Yeah,
where you're just
yeah.
like, I can't find this anywhere. You're like, just actually YouTube it,
Yep,
and they very well might have it because
Same.
they don't have a lawyer to like get that shit.
Yeah,
off.
because back in the Wild West, and I love quote bigger YouTubers that bitch about this all the time because on their come up, they're so big now, they're in the millions because they luckily got in on the ground floor and like before it was a thing now. So it's much more saturated now, so it's harder to grow. Luckily, you guys have been helping me do that anyway, but much slower than I could have grown if I'd started years ago. And it's going to get much tougher for people starting now, and that's just how it is. But I love when these bigger YouTubers now are bitching that their growth has been stunted because YouTube is becoming more quote corporate, more commercialized, more ad friendly.
Well, what's going to happen is we're gonna get really set in our ways, and then someone's gonna do the impossible and make like yet another platform,
which
like
is kind of happening now. You've got Twitch, you've got other things I'm sure are going to pop up. But the hard time I have with that argument is how fucking difficult it is to make such a platform.
It's true. Do you know who pioneered making the new platform? Like, do you know who this is ultimately all coming out of? Like, think about like the whole transition in terms of just like the wider like history of it, like zoom out a little bit. It's all has to do with Rupert Murdoch starting Fox.
Really?
Yeah, because it's all like, think about like it used to just be for like 30 years it was just the 3 networks. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC, and that was it. And then Rupert Murdoch was like, and then everyone was like, why can't we do a 4th network? And they're just like, you can't do that. And then he was just like, I'm gonna do it. And then he did it, and it was like really like kind of like this corporate takeover thing, and managed to like take over all these like little studios throughout America, and then like broadcast it nationally.
And that was Fox.
And then that's Fox.
Okay.
The 4th network, and then they made Married with Children, which was their first like original sitcom.
I see.
And then they were like just with everyone, you know, and then everyone with all those cable channels were trying to do what they did.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it's still just like that, where it's like all about once you get your like hit original show, you can actually have a brand for yourself.
Your flagship.
You know what I mean? Yeah, your flagship, exactly.
I feel like what's that one channel? Not Vox.
Vice.
Vice. I think they just attached to Action Bronson, and that was a thing for a while. But I think he's done with them. But yeah, overall though, I feel like TV is dying.
But you got to understand. But it's still the same thing. Like TV. Cable is dying, but also like you'll still go to. It'll just become like you're just gonna have to go to NBC.com.
Yeah,
no, not
online.
Or pay for like YouTube, because YouTube the like TV service is expensive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But whereas if you like still get cable, and then you just go online to all the different sites, like especially TVs now with like Roku TV, they've designed it in a way where it's like you still have a very limited options, and they like decided the interface. That's why that shit's bad. That's why like watching TV on your computer is better, is because you do have like more of a say and more
or your
power.
Phone. Everyone's watching on their phone.
But even the phone has like those limitations too, because like you can't really block ads. Like there's and ads, yo. Like the ads are still just worse than ever. Because I remember they had it solved for a little bit with the DVR, where it was like, oh, just fast forward through the ads, and they were like, no.
I don't really DVR, but it sounds like you're a big TV guy still, because I'm not a big TV guy. The content specifically, I'm more of an internet content guy. Even Netflix, I don't really gravitate to Netflix. I find myself on YouTube all the time.
That's still funny, because even when a show comes out, I still I don't watch cable. I'm not there flipping through the channels, and like I don't go to like channel 6 and like watch, you know what I mean? But I do go to NBC.com, I go to AMC.com, I go to like CBS.com. I don't, for some reason, Comedy Central does not do Spectrum anymore. Like when you log, so they do not. They've cut Time Warner Cable So I have no access to Comedy Central. So that I have to like get illegally. But whenever I watch a show, I still, even if it's on Netflix, I need to ask like, what network is this show on? Like, is it a Netflix show or is it like a, where does this come from?
Why do you care?
Because it matters. Like, what channel? It really does matter.
Why does it
like,
matter to you?
Think like AMC. Like if a show, if like I haven't seen a show and you're like, you should watch this show, and I'm like, oh okay, like what channel is it on? You're like AMC. I'm like, oh okay, it must actually be good.
So
or like
that
FX.
Adds some brand value to
exactly.
you.
Yeah, because AMC does Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead. So like I kind of know maybe, and Killing Eve now too. So I kind of know like.
Which one?
You haven't seen Killing Eve?
No.
Yo, it's dope. Sandra Oh.
Oh, that's the show she's on?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I saw billboards in the
Exactly,
on the
you've seen the
stuff.
billboards. It's fucking dope. They're on the second season. It's an amazing show.
Interesting. How do you feel about comedy shows like Crashing? And...
Oh, I don't like. I like Crashing, but it obviously is like
too Disney.
Yeah, just there's that funny detail, I guess, with Crashing where we're kind of on the same page with him in those first like 3 episodes of the show, and then it's like, oh, he moved miles past us in these like
He's just hanging out with David Tell
in
on a
these
casual
3
Tuesday.
short seasons.
He befriended all
Having
the
said
A-list
that,
comics.
I really did like that finale. I watched the whole show, and I didn't like a lot of it. I didn't like the Christian part of it. What are you Christian?
No, I'm not Christian.
I don't have a problem with anybody. But I didn't like the like.
You're talking about the most recent finale.
Yeah, I love the series finale.
Wait, it's over?
Yeah, they canceled it.
Really?
Yeah.
What? I thought they renewed it for a 3rd season.
It was the 3rd season, and then it was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and it was a really good series finale, though. I thought.
Huh? I'm trying to remember what happened.
And it almost like caps it off nicely. It's like that's.
Right,
John
because
Mulaney.
he comes back. Yeah, right, and he comes back to the cellar. He gets his spot.
And then he gets back together with
Yeah.
him getting back to with the girl almost made it like a good show. Like that actually redeemed the whole show.
That would make sense that it's the end of the show, I guess.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Never mind. I thought it was coming back.
No, yeah, it's done. But I love Louis. I love Seinfeld. And those are all about people who do.
Yeah,
it's all about
true.
them doing comedy.
How do you feel about stand-up specials?
I love them all. I mean, I don't love them all. I think ours can be really, really hit or miss. But like, I love all the good ones. Ellen, my favorite ones. Like,
you like Ellen's?
Yeah, loved Ellen's. Fred Armisen's.
The drummer one?
Yeah,
that was
I
good.
really did like Amy Schumer's special. I know she gets like trolled so bad, but like I think she really is like brilliant. And I know that that's one of those opinions where people are just like, he likes Amy Schumer.
No, I actually had
but she really is one of the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's been at it long enough.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you would hope so.
And like status-wise too, like people are just like she's overrated. It's like I think she's just as like she has plenty of haters. I feel like
people have said the same about Dane Cook, right? Like
yes, but Dane Cook, I feel like she's closer to like a Louis than she is a Dane Cook at a certain point.
In
I think
terms of
Kevin,
style, you mean?
Yeah, I think Kevin Hart right now is like closer to a Dane Cook.
Okay.
Like, in terms of like demographic and stuff too.
Yeah.
Because I was 12 when I liked Dane Cook.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
true. Yeah, I definitely noticed younger folks. Well, to be honest with you, younger folks in general run the market, if you will. Like YouTube content.
I've known this since I was a
everything. It's just
child.
the million view getters that you're like, how the fuck is anyone watching this? It's always children, right?
Perfect way to bring it back to, again, great segue. Give me one of these for our amazing conversation flow, which is the reason I say this thing about the cable channels and like why I need to know the network is because Nickelodeon was such a huge part of my childhood. And according to my dad, like he says this really was almost the first and kind of only time, I mean not only time, but the first time that people could identify in a network, in a cable channel. Like it was never a medium that you could like identify. It was just like it was just technology and like almost like the content of the TV wasn't ever broken away from like what the medium of it was, like just the box and like
it's just a number.
And my dad it's like
Channel
13 channels. It was just like everyone was watching it. There's nothing like personal about it.
Yeah.
But Nickelodeon really did. It was like this space for you all day.
Yeah.
And like what year were you born again?
1987.
Okay, exactly. So you really got.
Well, I didn't have cable growing up, unfortunately. I got bullied for it.
Sucks. Of course you would get bullied for it.
No, I'm serious. Like I had a dude in band because something happened on MTV, I think,
Yeah.
the night before, and everyone had watched it. All the cool kids watched it, and then in band, in the middle of a break in the music action of rehearsal, they're talking about it, and they see me like trying to like be included, like let me chuckle to feel included, and then one dude just legit gets up and goes, Sandra, you don't even have cable, you poor fuck. Like, it was one of those.
I just have to ask, do those guys live in penthouses now?
Actually, it's funny. That same dude was the same guy that also another separate instance. I found myself eating alone one day at lunch, which is like a disaster.
It's embarrassing. Even as an adult, that's like painful.
Honestly, I've gotten over it. I'm just like, this is how people do now.
Cool.
But at the
So you got
time,
over it really
there was a time in my childhood where I was like, if I ever eat alone, I have lost in life, right? And it just happened to be one of these middle school days where I was sitting alone at lunch, hoping no one noticed, and it's a packed room, but hopefully no one's gonna notice. But of course, that same motherfucker's like, hey, everybody, Sandra's eating lunch alone. Like, it's one of those.
It's like
fuck.
sixth grade or something.
This was 6th, 7th, or 8th.
Oh,
Funny enough, our high school and middle school was right across the street, literally from the college I went to. And what do you know? When I get to college, who's serving my meals at the dining hall? The same kid. And all of a sudden, he's nice. And he's like, oh, we should hang out sometime. And blah blah blah. So it was a full circle type story. But yeah, I don't know where he's at now. But definitely not here.
I like that. It means it's good. I probably shouldn't have watched so much goddamn TV as a child. But that's what you had. That's why I feel kind of so bad. It's like, because I'm from New York City too, so we weren't allowed to really play outside by ourselves.
Okay.
You can't just go
Oh, so you
outside
grew up
and
in New
play.
York City?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Grew up in New York City. Grew up on 77th and Amsterdam.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um,
Straight up waspy background.
No, this was back when the Upper West Side was like.
Oh, no, that's Upper
Seinfeld.
West, sorry. Yeah,
this
yeah,
was
okay.
back when the Upper West Side was all like covered in graffiti,
Yeah, yeah,
and there
okay.
was the playground across the street. Like if you see the neighborhood now, it's not like it is at all. Like it's crazy. You've been to stand up New York before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh yeah, it's right by there.
Like I have a picture on my Instagram. I'm going to show you, and the viewers can't see. But if you want to see on my Instagram, this is something that's a interactive part of this.
Oh, while you pull that up, I forgot to pull out another little yag here.
I'm trying to get these pickies loading.
I don't know if you're a
Oh, are those candies?
candy cigarette fan.
I
but
love candy cigarettes.
It's a little prop we have on the podcast here.
I might need to do it on your phone. But the point is, I have a picture of like that Stand Up New York block before it got turned into like the Marshalls. I suppose maybe I have it here.
Oh yeah, there's a Marshalls right next to
Yeah,
it.
like this was the block when I was a kid,
Huh.
and now this is it now.
Okay.
And
It's
so
a
they
seedy
just-
pizza shop turned into a corporate.
And everything's been torn down. The playground across the street from my house used to be like covered in graffiti, and there were like dead ducks, like mutilated ducks that like crackheads had killed in the nighttime.
Nice.
You know, like crackheads hang out. It was just like, it's so funny, and then it just shifted so quickly into being really, really fancy.
Yeah, and
These are great.
yeah, like yeah. Tell me about your childhood.
I've always liked the chocolate cigarette. Though.
Oh, they have those? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I got these for like a YouTube skit I did once. I was like, oh, these are fucking dope, man. It's like you get that cool feeling of holding something in your hand, but it's not tobacco and bad for you. You know?
You know how I quit smoking? Clementines. A
What?
secret to anyone who wants to quit smoking. Clementines is the way to go. You got to carry a bunch of clementines with you, and you get the hand thing and you get the oral thing, and it takes about the same amount of time as a cigarette.
Huh. Interesting.
Clementines.
I heard this hilarious fucking joke at an open mic the other day. The comic, it wasn't clementines, but he said tangerines, but whatever, smaller orange. And he just goes, yeah, I had a clementine orange juice yesterday. It tasted smaller. The whole room was dying laughing. It was hilarious.
Can't do other people's jokes.
I'm giving him credit. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't my joke. I'll gladly say that. I wish I could have thought of something so clever, but it was fucking hilarious.
That is really funny.
He had another one where he goes, I'm just a social drinker. I like to talk to my alcohol. But yeah, he was super funny. And you wouldn't guess it by looking at him, but we don't have to talk about it.
You don't remember who it was?
No, it was someone I'd never seen before. And
Where was it?
This was at a fucking comic book store. Yeah.
Oh, which one on Carmine?
Carmine's, yeah. Yeah.
When do you go to that?
I
Sunday?
apparently it was a Sunday thing, but maybe they do other shows. But
I used to host one there on Thursday.
oh, really? So I guess I'm just new to the loop on it. But
I used to one at the bookstore side. I used to host one. Same
okay.
place though.
but so you really were a smoker?
Yeah.
I
was.
Oh yeah. I was like, what word is that?
I'm embarrassed about it though.
No, that's hey. At least you're done with it, right?
Yeah, it's bad for you.
It's very bad for you. But it always impressed me how like people know it's so bad for you, yet people still do it. It's like
Yeah, that's because they're like global climate change deniers. You know?
the world is flat. Yeah.
No, it is true. It's always weird. I also get annoyed when also people who smoke a lot and then they have like opinions about social justice and they have opinions about like environmental stuff, and it's just like fuck you, you smoke. Like,
Well, I don't like to compartmentalize people in that capacity because there's vices I have which don't fit my
Oh,
big
I
picture.
compartmentalize people in that capacity. No, I'm just joking. Smokers, you obviously have a right to all
Think of
opinions.
yourself. Like,
You know
there
what
was
I
a
mean?
time where you were a smoker, and now you're not, but
It's true.
you're still a good person. I
It's
hope,
fun. The
right?
funniest thing about smokers, like, if anyone tells them, they hate nothing more than someone being like, "Hey, you know, smoking is really bad for you." And
I have a funny story about that. My first year of medical school, my first week of medical school, it was like still like orientation week. I'm at this party, and this yeah, absolutely. This girl who had nothing to do with the medical community, she just happened to be at the party. She asked me if she has a lighter. She asked me if I have a lighter, and I'm like, you know, smoking's bad for you. I'm a medical student now. I thought it was going to go over so well. Like, oh my God, really? But she looked at me with the dirtiest fucking look. Like, you fucking piece of shit. Shut the fuck up. I'm leaving. Like, that was the attitude. I was like, wait, what? I was just trying to help. Like,
I was like a kid, and you know, probably 15. That's when like everything started to get like fancy uptown. I mean, it was always fancy, but you know what I mean. Like that's when everything was noticeably just like all
safer.
Yeah, and in the sense that like everybody was having little. Think of it. There was a time like in the '90s, everyone was having little kids on the Upper West Side, like it is in like Prospect Park or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and now it just now everyone's an old person. But I remember just like smoking cigarettes in the Central Park, and this guy pulls up, and he's just like, "Uh-oh, cancer police! I'm gonna have to give you a ticket."
Just some old man.
And we're just like, "What?" And he's just like, "Smoke is bad for you." I'm just like, "Fuck off!"
Dude, yeah, no one takes it well. It's like I kind of equate it to like when you challenge someone's political beliefs or like religious beliefs or anything, because you realize if you attach your personality to something, whatever it is, and someone challenges that, it's like they're challenging you as a person and the choices you made in life. So it's like, fuck you, I'm going to get defensive about this, and double down. Even you might be even right, but fuck you. Like,
my friend,
I feel attacked.
I remember a few years back before everyone was starting to get, you know, all I feel bad by saying everyone was getting all crazy, but you know, before time was all crazy. My friend said something like, we were at a party. He's just like, people get really upset and uppity when you talk about identity politics, and then suddenly everyone was like, "That's not true. Like, why would you say that?" And he's just like, "Look,
gotcha." Yeah.
Like that's just what.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why like I said, I try not to compartmentalize, and I'm just like, listen, this is a person. They're hopefully complex, and there's parts about them I like, and there's going to be parts about them I don't like. Same thing with myself. There's parts about me that I don't like about myself. Other people hate about me, and there's other parts about me that I hope are good, right? So
fuck yeah! Now we're on to inspirational self-love. I'm into this. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. I don't love myself too much, but you gotta.
That's why you're a comic, right?
It's always good.
Yeah. Now, it does bother me when people are just like super negative. That shit drives me nuts. It's like, actually, I should take that back. Again, compartmentalize it. I think those people are necessary because you can't have everyone in the world be all happy-go-lucky and nice to everyone. Like, you need that seed of like evil and darkness to not just to be there, but to be like a challenge. Like, yo, this is not all, I was about to say Guns N' Roses. This is not all roses and blushy, I don't know, what the fuck am I trying to say?
No, I know what you're saying.
It's not all pretty. Like,
but
there are deep, dark, evil things that we need to recognize, and sometimes the only way you can recognize it is if you have a little bit of dark in you.
It is true, but that's true, but that's not necessarily, like, being negative sometimes is also just people who just, like, are just, like, incredibly uncooperative.
Well, some people are just, fucking annoying with it. But I feel like you need to have a healthy balance of both styles of people. The super-go-lucky, morning show enthusiasm types, and then the fucking cynical asshole. You need both people, but ideally less on those
that's
spectrums.
the whole thing is I think the lines are sort of like being rewritten now of like what the archetype is, you know? It's like suddenly like the characters are becoming much more like complicated.
Nuanced.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's just these new details to incorporate now with all this shit. I don't know, that's why I do want to do characters. Like I want to find a way to like do characters.
Like on stage, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever see Cheech and Chong 2?
No.
Oh well, there's a part where Pee Wee Herman is in it, but it's like Pee Wee Herman before he was Pee Wee Herman. He was just like a club comedian. He's just like a ridiculous club comedian that they like put in this movie to play like an annoying, ridiculous club comedian. But he is, and that's just like was his act, is just being Pee Wee Herman. And that shit is just so like you never see that type of shit nowadays. Like,
is that like a Jim Carrey type of thing?
I don't know. I don't know. No, Jim Carrey was also like very specific too, because that was always him. It was always like Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
Got it.
Whereas Pee Wee Herman was
literally separate people.
completely its own. Yeah, its own thing. You've seen Pee Wee Herman's.
I've seen The Big Adventure. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I don't even remember what happened in it, but
it's a great movie. I recommend you go back to it.
I just remember the big dinosaur.
Yeah,
that's it. And like the whatever your contraptions you call them in the beginning, where like it makes its eggs.
Rube Goldberg's.
There you go.
I love a Rube Goldberg.
Those are pretty sweet. I always wanted to make one for like a science project in middle school, elementary school, but just went with the classic volcano.
I love a Rube.
Trying to think where to take this next.
I screwed up because we were talking about self-love, inspiration.
Oh yeah. No, I think you're right with the nuance. I think the internet is a key factor in that because people are being exposed to so much variety of people, personalities, variety of whatever the fuck is going on in this world. Yeah. Whereas before, like we were talking earlier, 3 networks and that's all you get, and it's whatever gets passed by that. Now, literally everything's everywhere, so it's like you get an opportunity to learn. I think that's the problem with the internet culture now. It's like with cancel culture, Me Too culture, this culture, that culture. It's like it's always an overcorrection and an over-exaggeration, but then it always calms the fuck down.
It's true because like everyone, that's my biggest problem with it is that everyone can just everyone is a writer now, and everyone thinks that they can just write a thought and then publish it. But no writer in their right mind would publish their first draft. So like that's what people are doing is publishing their first drafts.
Well, they don't know any better.
And exactly, and then they don't realize that writing is actually a lot harder than they think. And what is said on the paper isn't necessarily what they're trying to say because communication is and language is like much more difficult than they
like a racist joke. It could be funny, but it's not funny yet, and you just butchered it. So now we all think you're a racist.
Exactly. And that's why any like bad joke that you think of, I think usually it could work if you just come up with the right character to say it.
Exactly. Or you literally just have to make it funny. Like if it's not funny and you went on that limb to be sexist, racist, hateful, whatever, you're not coming back from that problem.
I also just think just like why do you have to? It's one of these annoying things, and that's why like obviously like there is such a huge separation in New York comedy now, and like everyone's in their corners, and like men and women, and it's just because like men who don't quite understand just like relentlessly bring up that stuff because it like confuses them, and so therefore they think it's like something that they should talk about, but really it's like no, that like confusion just means you need to like actually just like sit in that and move past, you know what I mean, like take it, like take not understanding,
which is hard for people to do.
Exactly. Like take it as not your topic and
but
move
that
on.
That goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where if you challenge someone's identity or what they believe in, that's like they double down like, no, I'm not wrong. It's like you have to be open to being vulnerable and being and taking criticism so you can get better as a person.
Well then we're getting down to like America too, and that's why like there's so much terrible stuff in America, because there is like no national identity. And there's nothing in America that any American really has anything to like identify in, like in America. I really do think so.
Okay. That's
like it's so much shame. It's just like a history of just shame, and,
Yeah, I'm hoping that shit fixes itself real quick. That'd be nice. Don't know that it's going to happen anytime soon, but
that's what it is. That's also this funny thing where it is. Yeah, it's like history is shameful, and
I don't know. I think it. I want to be careful with my words, but it's like. We don't have to go there.
Yeah, exactly. This is the time. This is what I do. This is my signal for a move on.
Yeah, let's see. I do want to
more comedy. What's your favorite sketch show? Sketch show?
Jesus.
Do you watch sketch comedy?
We're talking like SNL, In Living Color.
Yeah. Or even the modern ones like Kroll Show, Amy Schumer.
Oh, okay.
Inside Amy Schumer or Key and Peele.
Inside Amy Schumer was great. I remember a lot of great skits. We were actually talking about this yesterday too, but we didn't mention. I think my all-time favorite skit of that is where she's trying to get birth control and she goes through like 8,000 loopholes with multiple men, and at the very end with the kid's like, "I want a gun. Here you go."
He just throws it. There you go.
That was great. So yeah, that was a well done skit show. Really enjoyed, obviously, Key and Peele. Not a lot of Key and Peele, but
Key and Peele was hit or miss. And all sketch comedy is hit or miss.
Yeah,
Key and Peele did, I think, have some like really perfect things.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And speaking of which, before Key and Peele was Key and Peele, you know how they were on Mad TV.
Yeah.
So, and Mad TV was a great show for certain sketches. The Abercrombie sketch,
Hate
loved
Mad
it.
TV.
Oh, really? Okay. There's some skits
I'm
there that I
sure
love.
there were really good Mad TV sketches, but I could never like watch an episode because it was like you couldn't like look up Mad TV sketches.
I
You just had
see,
to watch.
okay.
I remember I actually hated it. This is why I had a personal vendetta against it because it used to be that Comedy Central played reruns of Saturday Night Live, and then
okay.
one day they stopped and just started playing reruns of Mad TV, and I was like, "Fuck that!"
Well, yeah, there was definitely way more a plethora of greater content on SNL, but I mean that's just what it is. But the one specific Mad TV sketch that I always go back to is Key and Peele were on it, and they do this sketch where they are like thugs going at each other, and I won't spoil it. You guys should really look this up. Just search Key and Peele Mad TV; it'll be
Okay,
the
I'll
first
check it
result.
out.
It's hilarious. I always go back to watching that. The Abercrombie sketches were amazing. There's a bunch of them.
I got a favorite sketch then. Favorite sketch, retro SNL sketch, is Jerry Seinfeld hosting in the 90s, or he's a history teacher. You gotta find it. It's on Google Videos, but it's not on YouTube. Jerry Seinfeld history teacher sketch.
Interesting. I didn't even know he was on SNL.
It's the best. No, he just hosted.
No, I didn't know he hosted it.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Makes sense. He would though. Yeah,
Exactly.
obviously.
Big star.
Duh. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the Will Ferrell era was probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, because you were also that was when your prime age.
Yeah.
So that was like exactly when you were like 11. Let me guess.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that's normally. As Lorne Michaels will say, it's like normally everyone's favorite season of SNL was when they were
Kids.
11.
Yeah, it's true though. But I will
My
say,
favorite season was like Jimmy Fallon's last season and Kenan Thompson's first season.
I see. Okay.
And like Tina, so like the last season of Jimmy and Tina and Seth Meyers.
Yeah, there's obviously a great Tina era.
And Fred
even
Armisen was brand new. And
I think the second wave of what I loved from SNL was the fucking Andy Samberg era.
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
shit.
And Bill Hader. Yeah, the Andy Samberg, Bill Hader. Because that was dope. That was like because it's true. I started watching it when I was in like 5th grade, and then they came around when I was in like 8th grade. And then Kristen Wiig. It's true. And then I don't think I watched.
Wiig, yep.
And then I don't think I watched for like pretty much most of high school and most of college. And then I started watching like just before the Trump situation. And then when Alec Baldwin was put as Trump, like it like completely rebooted the show. You know, it was like a really cool revamp of the whole thing.
I haven't been a huge fan lately. They've done a couple sketches where I was like, dude, this is amazing. But lately, I just haven't. SNL.
I
whatever.
love it so much. I mean, obviously, sketch comedy is hit or miss. Like sometimes
Yeah.
there's not great stuff, but like I love it so much. The Sandra Oh episode. Did you see the one where she played Tishy?
No.
It's like the best thing in the whole
Really?
world.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Where he's like looking into her future. He's looking like his mirror, like future self in the mirror, and he's just like, "Yeah, like meet your future girlfriend." And it's Sandra Oh, and she's just like, "I'm Tishy, and I got that good goo goo." And it's
What the fuck?
and it's like exactly it's like the most ridiculous thing, and it's like. Is the situation where the sketch has been done before, but Sandra Oh has never done this character
Yeah, I'll have
before.
to check it out. I
It's
can't
so
even
funny.
picture her doing it. But
I know, no, it's
Yeah.
just transformed.
But the fuck, what was I going to mention? The thing I do hate about current SNL is they don't feature Kyle Mooney more often.
They don't have Kyle Mooney enough, but he really is a video guy. You know, he has at least a video sketch, and sometimes they cut it, but then they
It's
still
always
put
cut.
it on the internet.
Yeah, it's always covered time. But that's the thing. I think his humor is definitely not suited for like an NBC audience. I
It's
think that's
true.
the problem.
But that's why he is a rare case. Like I think he's one of the first like YouTube stars.
Dude,
to
yeah,
be-
I am obsessed with his
Remember
YouTube
how
shit.
good that shit was?
Dude,
With
I
him in
would.
the Lakers interviews.
The baseball
Lakers.
interviews, yeah, the awkward interviews. Norm Macdonald had a sports show for a little bit.
Oh, classic.
And he would have him on as his
nephew.
cousin or his nephew, whatever. And that's when I first heard about those awkward interviews. But I didn't realize it was the same guy on YouTube doing all these other things. My all-time favorite is the "No More Smoking" skit. I don't know if you
yeah.
remember, where he's just like pretending to be a weed smoker, but he's not. He's got his kids doing it.
Oh yeah, that's classic. Some bomb ass dank ass. I remember.
He's
You
just
know
like,
my bomb ass dank
yeah,
ass?
this is the weed I've been smoking, dude. That's just a fucking house plant. This is the weed you've been smoking this whole time. Just a plant,
I got
dude.
that bomb ass dank ass. I remember that so well. That was like when I was really. I saw Kyle Mooney at. This is funny. I saw Kyle Mooney at. He was at the Pair the night
Really?
of the Cubs World Series, like that final game,
Huh.
and I went up to him. He was at the pair. I was like barking, and he was there. And I see him. He's just like getting a drink at the bar. I'm just like, "Are you Kyle Mooney?" And he's just like, "Yes." And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's like obviously 6 people have just come up to you asking. And I'm just like, "It is a comedy bar." You know, right? And he's just like, "I didn't know."
Really?
This
He
is
just
before
happened to be
Crash.
there?
This is before. Yeah, he was just watching the Cubs game like with his friend.
Interesting.
Who like must live in the area.
Got it.
And he's just like, "I don't want to come. Why did you take me to this comedy
Really?
bar?"
He's like that?
Obviously.
Fuck. I could see him being like a reclusive.
And he really was. No, exactly. But it must have been clear, like he was getting like kind of he didn't know that it was a comedy bar.
Got
I'm
it.
just like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I was like, but I have been a fan of yours since I was in like 8th grade, since those like Lakers interviews. And he was just like, oh, okay. It's like, what's your name? And then we had a handshake.
Gotcha.
It was nice.
Well, see, I think that's. I think I've started to appreciate this with just my own audience. Like you'll get these tiers of fans. You'll get like the fair weather fans who are like, oh, I saw you in that one thing, but they don't even know what the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like the casual fans that are like kind of in and out, but they would recognize you and kind of know who you are. Then you have like the hardcore fans who are like watching everything. Then you have like the creepy fans who are just like way too in your business.
Yeah.
So.
I think he had gotten mobbed by some of those like Broy fans where it's like, weren't you in Zoolander too?
Yeah.
I know you. I seen you in Zoolander too. And he's just like, yeah. They're like, what's your name? And he's
exactly.
just like,
And they're like, dude, I don't want to talk to these kinds of people because like they don't even really know who I am. They're just like, they're just in it because they know I'm attached to this quote celebrity thing. So that's kind of annoying. I can see that. But then there are those personalities that will welcome anything, like a Bert Kreischer type. He's like, oh yeah.
The best comedy video. Have you seen Roomies?
Yes,
That's
dude.
the
My
best
friend loves that shit. He's like, dude, margarita night.
Dum dum. It's gonna be so great. Dum, dum. It's really gonna be. Fix Up Project.
Oh fuck! What was my favorite line from that? It was, "This place was gonna be sick."
We'll have a few parties. We'll keep them chill.
That's some big ones too. This was supposed to be so chill. I've lost friends my whole life. Now I've lost you too.
I love it. I really. Did you see his new Cover Time sketch with Adam Zeekman?
No.
Where he's just like he plays a new cast member. Adam
Oh yeah.
Zeekman.
Okay, yeah. I did
and it's
see that
so
one.
fitting that it gets cut too. Like it was such a perfect
It's like a perfect meta of Kyle. It's like,
exactly, and that's what are all those videos with him and. Did you see his ones with Miley Cyrus?
No.
Those are the best on SNL. Well,
Really?
you have to watch those where it's like, Beck and Bobby Moynihan like walk in on him and he's like making out with Miley Cyrus. And
I have not seen.
And then he like closes the door and he's just like, "You guys, Miley Cyrus wants to have sex with me." And they're just like, "Well, go do it." And he's just like, "No, it's too much of a commitment."
Dude, that reminds me of the YouTube sketches where he like pretends to be gay, walking in on Beck. Or Beck walks in on him, and then he gets him back by walking in on Beck. Those two were.
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
all of the and that actually reminds me too. They have that series of sketches with like it's like either a fake sitcom or like a fake reality show.
Oh yeah,
like The House
with Larry David. Remember the Larry David one on SNL?
I love that one
my
exactly.
God. The dinosaur montage B-roll.
I killed the fish.
Oh well. Dude, yeah, those are great. They were looking at him through the window. Like,
have you seen like that most recent season of Curb?
yeah.
I love that. My favorite part is Leon in that season, where he's like, "Let's take her dog." He's like, "What do you mean, let's take her dog?" He's like, "I'll take care of it." He's like, "We're not gonna take the dog."
Dude, crashing. Curb is amazing because I can even show my parents that shit and they find it hilarious.
Yeah,
you know?
it is really true. It's funny because my dad happens to be a lot like, again, is a Larry David type. He always thought he was a Jerry, but he's really more of a George.
Got it.
And, just again, that Upper West Side, like, neurotic guy. And so my mom hates Curb more than anything, just because it's just too close to home.
That's hilarious.
She's like, I don't need to watch Curb. I lived it.
Fuck, man. I want to wrap this up, actually, if that's cool with you, even though this has been a fruitful discussion.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Let's give you one last opportunity to plug yourself.
Stephen Wolf, Instagram at Stephen Wolf, Stephen with a V, Wolf.
He's holding 2 pizzas in the
F's.
picture.
Yeah, holding 2 pizzas in the picture. I need to update that. That's from like a while ago, I think.
Well, I mean, no one can really see it. It's like a tiny little thing.
It's true.
But no YouTube, right?
Oh, YouTube.com.
Oh, that's right. You do have.
YouTube.com/filmspaw. FILMSPAW.
Dope. Spore. Got it. And there, you have any shows you have booked that folks can find you, assuming I get this uploaded in time? Or
Do I have any what?
shows that you're like booked on, or
No, I don't have any. I have lots of shows that I'm booked on. Yeah, you can catch me at Broadway on. No, I don't have any shows.
All right. Yeah, dude, this was great. We'll have to have you back for sure at some
Yes,
point.
I'm down. I love your
it's a shame.
speakers.
Yeah, it's a shame Brendan couldn't make it. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.